How's it going, guys? So it's Monday morning. We were doing some more seeding on Saturday at this other farm, and we just parked the drill here so we didn't have to drive it home. My dad's getting here with the tractor. We're gonna hook it up. Now we're just gonna bucket a little bit of seed in just to finish this field up, and then we can take it home and fill it up again. We're seeding our triticale. This will be spring forage, so it's a cover crop, and then also a forage crop we'll get in the spring. Kind of a 2-for-1. We chopped this field 2 weeks ago, and then the next day spread manure on it, and now we're coming through and seeding. Some good chances of rain this week, so we're kind of hoping we get some rain, get some moisture again, get this crop growing. For the last week and a half or so, we've been picking away at the seeding. We have over 100 acres seeded already. Quite a bit more we want to get seeded, finish out the season. Our seeding rate is 150 pounds per acre, and it's a triticale. It's a variety called Fridge that we've been growing for a long time. We like to see a good 6 to 12 inches of growth in the fall. Before the winter it goes dormant, and then it'll start growing again in the spring. He's back now. Fill the drill up again. Got a couple little issues with the drill, missing a closing wheel there. I don't know. I think it's still seeding okay in that row. It's not ideal, but I don't have another one on hand. We're actually getting a little bit of a rain shower now, so if it rains too much, we're not gonna be able to drill, but that's perfectly fine with me. Hey guys, so it's the next day. It's Tuesday, September 24th, and I'm getting a chance to run the drill a little bit. We're seeding at the home place into the soybeans we just took off on Friday last week. The electricians are here this week, wiring up all of our conveyors and connecting some of the control boxes in there. We had some cow work this morning, and now we're keeping this drill going again. This was a 2.9 maturity soybean, which is a pretty short season. They matured and dried out quicker, so we could get them cut, so we get our spring forage crop seeded in. I'm really happy with how it worked out. The soybeans actually yielded better than any soybeans we've ever harvested. We averaged about 90 bushels an acre on the plenished soybeans that we did on Friday. So as you can see, we had a little situation with our robot feeder right here. They set it up last week just to push the feed. It was running the full route, pushing up feed, not mixing feed at all. And it worked great for 4 days. And then on Sunday, it was coming back through here. Missed this strip when it was trying to return home, spun off the side there. There's a couple things they're gonna check out. Jeremiah from Lely Center, he has a couple ideas what happened, so he's gonna make some adjustments to the route. It's kind of nice we're getting a chance to run the system before it's actually feeding, so we can work some of these bugs out. The electricians are just finishing up. They were wiring up all the conveyors this week. It actually ended up being a decent amount of work, but they got that all straightened out. My dad just brought our hay wagon back from the neighbors. We had our hay box that we bought last winter at the neighbors. They were mounting this motor to it. We're gonna get this ready today. We gotta take the roof off of it, and then we're gonna wire it up, see how it runs. So this is what we're gonna use to load the dry hay into the mixer. Flip the running gear the opposite way, and we'll back it in over there to show you how that's gonna look. Main thing is we gotta get the top off so we can load it with the skid loader. Just looking at how this roof is attached, we're gonna leave the brace across the front and the back to give the walls stability, but we're hoping we can get away with taking those middle 3 braces out. This roof was going bad anyway, so it works out. So this is how we're planning to move it around with the skid loader. Bring it out, fill it up with hay. Skid loader just makes it a lot easier to maneuver it. We're gonna have to put some markings or something in the shed then so we can easily know where to back it. Wheelie center is back today, finalizing everything, getting ready for next week to start up the system. Before we fill it up with hay, we want to bring it in, get it wired in to see if it's running the right speed, make sure everything's going to work right. We still have this elevator in the way right now, so it's going to be a little tight.
Hold it.
Hold up.
Trying to go right now.
So we're getting feed delivered. Gotta get these bins filled up for next week. These are Plenish toasted soybeans right now going into this bin number 3. We had to mess with the motor a little bit to get it wired correctly, but it works. The problem is it goes a little faster than we were wanting, so we're gonna try to get that hay box figured out tomorrow. I think we have a plan. The guys were working on the route a little bit, making some adjustments. Just gonna watch this thing push feed a little bit. It's kind of nice. They said some of their startups, they don't have them running at all before they start mixing, so it's just a lot of things happening at once. This way we can let it push feed a little bit, and we're just making sure everything's working good. So it comes into the barn and gets the line so it can come straight down through and start pushing. And the skirt actually can raise and lower, so however you want to set it up with the route, different spots you can lift and lower. That way you're not dragging it on the ground outside. Set up that it'll lift then when it goes across the middle of the barn here, because we always scrape this. This is where the cows cross over. This is actually just running the half route right now. I wasn't sure what it was doing. They have it just running the half route for during the milking. They're doing a test right now. Normally it'll come across here to lift the skirt up. Hey guys, it's the next day. It's Friday now. We're planning to start the system up on Monday. Everything's wired up, ready to go. We have a few things that we need to get straightened out. That wagon that we were working at yesterday needs to be fixed so that works properly. And we want to test all of the augers and actually pull feed through them. They already did test them, they were running, but we want to make sure stuff's going to flow out of the tubes properly and everything. And then the other big thing we need to do is open up the corn silage silo. So We filled the silo number 1 on the end full, and then the second one we got about 3/4 full. That's the one we want to start feeding out of. It has the BMR silage on top. Same stuff we're feeding out of the bag right now. It's going to be a little bit of a mess this weekend because we got to open up the silo now. We can't back our big mixer right into this area. That'd be pretty handy. So we're going to have to set the elevator in this area underneath the conveyors so we can load the mixer. We're going to have to move the robots off to the side for the weekend. There's less than 10 feet left in our ag bag, so there's a little bit more there, but it's not enough to get to Monday. So we definitely are going to need the feed for the weekend. It will be nice though, we'll have the unloader down and running when we go to start the system up on Monday. We're not going to have to mess with getting that silo started. For the last few weeks, we're feeding triticale out of the 3rd silo, and we had this elevator underneath that long conveyor that goes into the feed room. This worked out pretty well. We got a slide put in right there, so the feed's just falling into the elevator. The corn silage silo, we don't have the ability to take the feed out this way. The other thing is we got to get this wagon slowed down quite a bit. Our intention is to just run it really slowly. There's no reason for it to run near as fast as it was yesterday. So we had a couple options. We could change the size of the pulleys on here. There's already a very small pulley on the motor. Can't really go any smaller. And this is an 18-inch pulley. It's already pretty big. We could get a bigger one. Downside of that would be the shield wouldn't fit on it anymore. We'd have to get a new shield built for it. We'd really like to slow it down, probably 1/4 the speed or something. It's hard to say, but we want it quite a bit slower than it's going currently. We had 2 other options to slow this motor down. One would be to put a variable speed drive on it. The other thing, the guy that we bought this motor from said he thinks the lower cost option would be to just put a little gearbox on the end of this motor. You can get gearboxes with different ratios to slow it down quite a bit. So yeah, we're kind of leaning towards getting a gearbox for it. We can still adjust the speed of the wagon because we have these controls for the web, how fast the web actually moves, so we can adjust how fast that hay moves forward. The main thing that this motor is setting is the speed of this cross conveyor, which, yeah, you saw it yesterday. It was really flying. We're going to wear the wagon out quickly if we run it that fast, plus it's going to throw hay everywhere and make a mess. I think my dad's going to run over and pick up a gearbox. We're going to have to figure out how to mount this motor back a little bit. My brother-in-law Andrew's here this week. He's going to help open this silo up. First thing we're going to have to do is get these robots moved out of the way. Maybe I'll do that now. We just moved the feeders out of the way as best we could for the weekend. So now we're going to bring our elevator, try to slide it in underneath these conveyors. Before we stick the elevator in, we're just going to test the molasses and these grain augers. I want to make sure the grain is going to flow through these tubes just fine. So this is our molasses coming out right here. We don't have it fastened, but we're going to get that down and just pump some into this tote. We've been loading molasses into the mixer with this tote for the last week since we moved the tank inside. But now we got the pump working, so we want to test it out. Okay. Yeah, here goes. Seems like a decent speed. Might be plenty fast. Go the highest. I just want to see what I can shoot it out at. Just gonna fill this tote, maybe a 3rd full for the next few feedings. We'll back it off then. Actually fill the robot. We don't need it going this fast. This one has the stirrer on the bottom.
I think I can hear it.
There we go. Yeah, it looks like that's gonna work. At least for a while.
Oh yeah. If it actually will build up or not.
Yeah, my concern was just it's a little bit corrugated and
it will.
Could get tacky in there, but I like that speed because that's gonna be accurate. It's not coming too fast.
Yeah. I like that.
That supplement mix, it's got a bunch of mineral in it. That would be the stuff to give the most trouble with getting kind of sticky. It's not flowing right, so that was a good sign. Gonna dump this into the second bay with the other mix. So we had a delivery of this supplement 2 days ago, and they split the load, half out here and half in the bin. So, oh, that's not good. I would be tempted to leave that out of the video because it shows my incompetence, but just glad we dropped the bucket here, not in the mixer or something. So now I'm running the toasted corn bin, the bin number 2. Just takes a little bit to work its way through the pipe and make sure this slide is open and everything's good. The very beginning of his truck had some other corn. It's not as flowable. The toasted corn should be fine, but I think normally it would just mix in, but since it was the first fill, it fell down in the bottom. This is the toasted rolled soybeans. They should flow really well. We put a stirring system on the bottom of the 2 supplement bins. This will be the lactating supplement, and then this is the pre-fresh supplement. And it's just for the cows 3 weeks or less before calving. Now we're gonna get this elevator pushed out.
It's just a 3-to-1.
Okay. We're gonna get the blower hooked up a while, so we have a exhaust fan for this silo. We want to get this silo opened up. Okay, we're gonna get this silo going now. I'm gonna climb up and we'll start opening up. We'll see you at the top. It's been 15 days since we filled this silo, covered it with a piece of plastic. I forget how many rings down we were when we covered it. Settled a good bit, gassed off. Andrew's on his way up. He's gonna bring a couple dust masks. Some of this stuff's kind of dry, moldy stuff. So I'm gonna cut this plastic into a couple pieces so we can send them down the chute then. You can see how the center settled a little bit farther than the outsides because of the way that distributor was throwing it against the walls. There's a little bit more packed on the outside of the silo. It's kind of a dip in there. Looking under the plastic, it's beautiful stuff. It's cooled down and absolutely no mold anywhere here in the middle. Pretty much just the stuff on top of the plastic. I'm gonna throw all that away and then that'll be most of it. That's good. We just forked out all the stuff that was on top of the plastic and a little bit along the edge. Everything here is good feed. It's cold already, which I thought there'd still be a little bit of heat here, but yeah, I think this is gonna feed just fine. Everything to the center, filling this center hole in a little bit. Soon we'll be throwing stuff out. Corn silage flows a lot easier than the Critical spring forge does. So we're gonna have no trouble throwing it out. That's the one nice thing about corn silage. Unloaders love this stuff. That's all the good feed we threw out, just 500 pounds for the dry cows. Oh, half the dry cows. I'm gonna grab a 3/4 inch wrench. Need to adjust the one wheel. It was kind of rubbing against the wall and the door at the one spot, the outside chipper wheel, so need to go back up and make an adjustment. So I just climbed back up and adjusted this wheel out, strong 1/2 inch. It's just gonna keep that chipper wheel on the end, which is there to clean up against the wall. Just keeps that off the wall a little bit more. Because the issue we were having right around this edge of the silo was nicking the concrete a little bit there, and then it was getting over the door and nailing the door. So don't want to destroy our doors. That should just keep that unloader from being able to get too close to the wall when it wants to push against it. Happy with how that went. We barely had to throw any feed away other than the stuff that was sitting on top holding the plastic down. We're fine with sacrificing just a tiny bit like that to keep the rest clean. We're gonna start mixing it into the feed now this weekend. We got a good 1,500 tons in the first silo we filled, which was full. Could have got a little more in then, I guess, but mostly full. This one we got about 1,300 tons in. This should last a good 5 months or so, and then we'll transition to the other silo for the rest of the year. This is the exact same variety of silage that was in the ag bag. It's been sitting here for 2 weeks, so I don't think the cows will notice much difference. Maybe at first this won't taste quite as good as once we get a couple feet down, but it seems to smell pretty good to me. My dad and Andrew are finishing up that wagon. I was just working at getting these camera wires all into the feed room. Have them all coming together through the wall right there. Gonna take them over to where the silo control boxes are, and we'll put the monitor in there. There's a second wire coming out. This is a sensor wire. It's gonna be a sensor right here, reading the bearing on the bottom end of this conveyor. So if we have an issue where the chain breaks or something, this bearing's gonna stop moving. So that'll shut things off if we would have any type of conveyor issue. Just have it coming through the metal there on this side of the feed room. And then I'm just gonna run it through that gap and we'll zip tie it to the conduit over to the controls. Andrew and Dad got this motor mounted on with the new gearbox. So we got a 3-to-1 gearbox, plus we got a smaller pulley right there. So it should be about 1/4 the speed. Oh, wrong way. Why did it switch? Does that thing reverse the direction of the motor? It seemed like a nice speed, but it was going the opposite direction.
Going that way.
Got the direction switched.
Go.
That's perfect.
I
Yep.
would say that's awesome.
Now we can still adjust the web speed with these, so it gives us some flexibility with the flow
You have it
still.
on this side.
I got this monitor temporarily sitting here. It's only plugged into the silo we just opened up, so at least we can watch that. I need to get some more wire to get the other one from the Triticale silo hooked up. We got pretty much everything in order now. I'll probably do a video this weekend feeding, just showing how this is working. But I think I'll end this video here. We'll be starting the system up on Monday if everything goes as planned. The feeding's been kind of a pain lately, so we're definitely looking forward to getting everything working like it should. All right, thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.